Good morning to one and all. So now in this class we have to discuss about the pistil and megasporangium. The megasporangium also we called as the ovule. So gynoecium is the female reproductive whorl of the flower. It means it is the innermost whorl of the flower. So it has composed of one or more carpels. These we call it as the carpel structure. This carpel may be present one or many also present. Carpels are the modified leaves and morphologically the megasporophylls. Carpels are the modified leaves or morphologically we call as the megasporophylls. So this carpel has composed of majorly three parts. One we call it as the stigma. It is the receptacle part. It receives the pollen grains and moreover it is a sticky part. And the slender part called as the style and the end part, a knob-like structure, is called as ovary. And behind the ovary the thalamus will be present. So three parts present in the carpel. One it is a stigma, style, ovary. And these carpels, whether they are fused condition or free condition, depending on that the carpels are two types. One it is apocarpus or apocarpy. It means the carpels may be free in manner. It is commonly found in the Annona and Michaelia. And syncarpus, it means the carpels are united or fused. Such condition can be seen in the plants of hibiscus and papaver. So these female reproductive structure of the flowering plant is helps for the reproduction, especially those carpels and the stigmas. Especially the stigma can receive the pollen grains and through the style it will pass and it reaches to the ovary. Inside the ovary the ovules are present. Either it may be single ovule is present, commonly seen in the sunflower or wheat paddy, which has composed of single ovule, or some they are having many ovules. The ovary has composed of more number of the ovules that we can find in many of the plants. And ovule, if we have to observe, the ovules are attached to the ovary by the help of a part called as the placenta. After fertilization, these ovary will converted into the fruit and ovules are converted into the seeds. Based on the number of the seeds, the number of the ovules or ovule number, it can decide the number of the seeds in fruits. Now the another important structure is inner part of the ovary is nothing but of the ovule. The ovule also we call it as the megasporangium. The megasporangium is developed inside the ovary by the help of the placenta, and nucellus parts can help for development of the ovules. These ovules is in a oval shaped structure. Commonly ovule is a oval shaped structure and it is a female reproductive part. So now we have to observe this is the structure of a ovule and moreover it is a anatropous ovule. So in our textbook it is given the inverted manner. So here we may observe the structure of the ovule or the Megasporangium. This Megasporangium has composed of different parts that we call it as the posterior part of the ovule, where the nucellus, integuments and the fused funicle, all these are fused. This part we call it as the chalaja. The nucellus and integuments and funicle, these three parts are fused, that it is a posterior part called as chalaja. And the stalk of the ovule, when a ovule is attached with a placenta, that attached part we call it as the funicle. And the part of the ovule which is the main part attached to the placenta or a funicle is called as the hilum. And the anterior part where there is a small opening portion, that we call it as the micropylar, and also we call it as the anterior part. And inner to this having the nucellus portion, and the nucellus is covered with the number of the integuments. The outer region, the presence we call it as the outer integument, and inner region, the formation of the integument is called as inner integuments. And the part which is passes a line from that placenta to the chalazial region is called as the raphe. And these ovule can helps, or it is develops a female reproductive part, or also called as the female gametophyte, that we call it as the embryo sac. The embryo sac is a female gametophyte which has composed of the egg, is a female reproductive part. So all these parts which are developed inside the ovules from the nucellus, with the help of the nucellus tissues only, all they are developed. And all they are developed by the help of the mitotic cell division only. That's why all are in a diploid condition except a female gametophyte. Remaining all are in diploid condition. Either it may be chalaja, integuments, or embryo or nucellus and funicle and micropylar. All these are in a diploid condition. Based on the number of the integuments, the ovules are different types, like we call it as the unitegmic ovules and bitegmic ovules and ategmic ovules. If we have to observe the unitegmic ovules, only one integument is present in the ovule. Such type of the ovules we call it as the unitegmic ovules, that we can find common in the gamopetalae, where the helianthus, so those kind of the gamopetales, paddy, helianthus, they are common in the unitegmic ovule. Single integument is present in such type of the ovules. In bitegmic ovules, two integuments are present. The ovule has composed of two integuments. Examples commonly can find in the polypetalae and monocotyledone or monocots. And ategmic, it represents the absence of the integuments. Completely integuments are absent. Such type of the structures we call it as ategmic ovules. So those ovules can be common in the xanthalum album and Balanophora and Loranthus. So Balanophora and xanthalum album has composed of these kind of ategmic, means the naked Megasporangiums is common in such type of the ovules. The naked Megasporangium means there is no presence of integuments. The integuments are not covered with any types of the embryo sac is not covered with any types of the integuments. absence of integuments. It results in naked megasporangium. So like in first PUC we have studied the morphological structures, like we call it as the what is a stigma, style, ovary and thalamus, and even the syncarpus condition and apocarpus condition, and those structures, like we call it as the number of the carpels. Carpels, if you have to observe many types of the dhaturas, syncarpus ovary we can observe in, and single carpels. Those carpels, whether they may be fused or free, and such type of the carpels can helps for the it's a female part and receives the pollen grains from their neighbor stamens, and it will starts for the fertilization and post fertilization changes. Now here we may observe a stigma is a receptive part. It receives the pollen grains. That's why it is a little bit sticky in nature. It receives the pollen grains, and received pollen grains can send through the slender part with the help of the pollen tube. The pollen tube can enter into the stigma, into the style, from there to through the help of the ovary, and finally it reaches the ovule. So inside the ovule, the presence of the embryo sac. Inside the embryo sac, the egg cell will be present. Then the pollen grains can reach to the egg cell, and fertilization will be occur in the gymnospermic plants and angiospermic plants also. Most of these angiospermic plants, those are flowering to fruiting, they shows these kind of the characters. Those we call it as the like the formation of the petals, sepals, and flower structure, like stamens, stigmas. All these can be seen only in the angiospermic plants. Those are distributed on earth region. Maximum such type of the plants we called it as the angiospermic plants. So these plants are distributed worldwide throughout the earth region. They are distributed, and shows variabilities in their morphology, in their anatomy, and in their physiology also. They are different functions. Thank you.